In olden days, we used to store the data into the files or the books, and we used to maintain them as records. But as soon as the computer era started, so the term called database is coined in 1960. So in the during the initial days, we used to store the records as a file system in to the computers. Later, the early 1970s, the relational database first appeared, and relational database is more to store the data in the structured format. And in 1980s, we received something called desktop computing. So then we have an object-oriented programming. It's gained a lot of popularity in 1990s, and in early 2000 we received non-relational databases as well. So this is the small thing about how the databases are evolved in over the period in the computer era. So, but what is a database? Database is an organized collection of data. So when you give the data the same way that you arrange the files or the books in the olden days, the same way the data that we are giving in the digital format will be organized and kept into specific locations called tables. So for example, if you take any shopping cart application, you have the product information or the order information or the user information. Entire this information is being stored into one storage system that is actually the database. Or if you take a regular the shop application, or if you take the regular the websites that we see, so all the websites or the shop applications will go and fetch the data out of the database, retrieves the data, organize data into an application and present to the user in the browser. So, and to do that purpose, we normally use the DBMS, Database Management System. So the database management system is a software application or a system that provides an interface for interacting with the database and managing the storage, retrieval, and manipulation of the data. So every database provider will also provide the DBMS, database management software, for you to interact with that particular database. So we use the SQL language to fetch the data out of the databases for the relational databases, but non-relational databases, the respective database provider will provide the way to interact with their database. So as I was mentioning, relational and non-relational, which means we have two types of databases. One is the relational database, which we normally call is RDBMS databases. In case of RDBMS databases, when we are arranging the data and the tables will have a structured information. The tables in the data inside the tables is so organized and will have a relationship between one table to the other table. So we have a lot of relational databases providers. So one MySQL is one of the one, which is from the Oracle, and PostgreSQL, Oracle database, MySQL server, and you also have DB2 and other databases as well. But each provider will have their own way of storing the data into their database and their own way of interacting with the databases using the DBMS softwares. So as I was mentioning, we also have the non-relational databases, or we can also say that NoSQL databases, where you will not have an SQL language to interact with those databases. So primarily we have different ways, where we have an document oriented databases, which is MongoDB, CouchDB, and we also have key value stores, which is Redis and DynamoDB. You will be understanding about all these databases when you are actually developing the real-time applications, and based on your use case you will go and check what kind of DB that you want to use. So you also have column family stores, which is kind of an Apache Cassandra, which is the most popular database as well in NoSQL databases, and you also have an HBase. So we also have the graph databases, which is Neo4j, Amazon, Neptune. So this is how it's not only the two types of databases we have different other types of databases as well, like network database or the file system databases, which I have not covered here because it's no way related to our current discussion. But you have multiple different databases to store your data. When you are developing a real-time application, you should take a decision on which kind of data to be stored into which database. It's purely based on the use cases, but primarily when you are interacting with the cache based management, so during the time you might use the Redis DB to persist your cache, or when you are interacting with the data that to be stored related to order management or customer management or employee management, you might be choosing the relational database for your use case. So it's a completely up to you on what database that you need to use for your best use case that you have and best fit database that you have to choose. With that said, I'll stop here. Thank you for watching, and let's continue having the MySQL discussions in the next sessions. Thank you.